It's time for coffee and story time. This is the moment where you get to sip on your favorite drink, your beverage of the moment. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you all can see from the title, today is coffee and conversation story time, and we're going to discuss, get your coffee, your favorite, your tea, your liquor, whatever it is you want to put in your cup, so we can have this discussion. And we're going to talk about abuse and how I survived and lived through domestic abuse in my previous marriage, and just give a little tips to help. So just for people, disclaimers, people's opinions. Yes, I'm in a hair bonnet. My previous video for the coffee conversations, I was also in a hair bonnet. I'm not in public. I'm in my home. I'm in my bed. And plus, we're comfortable. This is not like a glammed up, dressed up video. This is the end of the day, tea time, coffee time conversation. So my hair will be in the bonnet because, listen, we're having like wait and exhale moment. We're chit-chatting about things. And so for today, as I said, we're going to be talking about domestic violence and how I made it through it. And so this is about probably... it was a while ago. I was married for a few years, in that relationship for a few years, about 7.5 years total. I'm 32 now, so this was when I was from 18 to 23. Yeah. The domestic violence wasn't the entire time of the marriage or the relationship. There was like controlling moments or red flags, as I would say, that I kind of just ignored due to being young and foolish and silly. That, now when I look back on it, I'm like, okay, that was a sign that this was going to happen and I should have paid attention to it. But, you don't know those things sometimes, or you ignore them. And, for me, I did. So anyways, in that marriage, when the abuse did start, it was like out of nowhere. We wasn't having an argument. We wasn't having a fight or anything like that. Like, we actually were good. We had a very playful relationship. Like, we had water fights in the house, with water guns, balloons, things like that. We was very playful. It was beautiful in the beginning. But one day when we were wrestling, he grabbed me by my arms and put them behind my back and like really tight, and I was like, hey, you're getting a little rough. But me being like my little twisted, nasty, freaky self, I really didn't mind a little bit of like roughness, but I didn't think it was what it was. And so yeah, he put my hands behind my back. It was a little tight, but then he bit me on my face. Like, he just reached out and bit me. Like, I got makeup on, but you can kind of see it. There's a circle here. That's where he bit me at. Like, he drew blood. Like, it wasn't like a little it was like rah. Like, he bit me like an animal. Like, something was wrong with him. And I was in complete total shock. Like, did he really just do this? Or like, you really just bit me? And it was the first time he's done something like that before. And after a few times of me asking, like, you really just bit me? Did you really just bite me? He started to just punch me in my face. And so my first immediate thought was, it put me in the mindset of when I was a kid, watching my dad and my dad beat on my mom, and how we all would be there and just watching this happen. And we're just watching it happen. And that was my first immediate thought for my kids. We had, I was pregnant with our third, and we already had 2 kids before that, but 3. I have a stepdaughter, so we had 3 kids there, and I was pregnant with the 4th child. And my immediate response was to protect the baby that's in me, as well as my life, and to also protect my kids. So I took all of my kids and pushed them into the room while he was trying to attack me. I just ran and grabbed my kids and put them in their room, and I locked the door so that they couldn't come out. And while I'm getting beat and slapped in the hallway and thrown against the wall, I make my way to the TV, and I turn the TV up loud. I turn the radio up loud because I just did not want my kids to hear what was going on. I didn't want to change the way my kids seen their dad in their eyesight. You know, he was their superhero, and so I didn't want to change that to them, because like, again, like I said, it made me go back to me as a child and what that did to me, to see and hear what was happening with my dad. Excuse the noise on the outside. My windows are open, my fan is on. It's hot. Your girl is hot. But so fast forwarded, that took place a few different times, and you guys, that was like drastic. To be the first time, it was crazy. I had to fight my way out of that, and I had locked him outside the room, and I climbed out of my bedroom window and ran down the street to the Walmart and found a phone and was able to call my friend to come pick me up. She came and got me, and I was bloody, I was in pain, and the first place I went was to his father's house, because his father was like, was not only was he my father-in-law, but even before that, he was an uncle. Weird, twisted story. Tell you guys about that later, but not blood related. Anyways, and so I ran straight to their house to tell them what just happened and show them what just happened. And the first thing his dad says is, "Well, what did you do?" I mean, not his dad, his mother-in-law said, "Well, what did you do to make him do that?" I'm like, "What did I do? I didn't do anything. What do you mean, what did I do?" And I was really taken back by that, like, what? And then my father-in-law proceeds to say, like, "Yeah, you had to say something or do something, because I know when she got a pocket and say something, I slap her up." Now, what I didn't know is that he watched his father beat his mother. And so this is a generational curse. This is a trait that's happening. And a lot of people don't take that into, they don't think about that when they make the choice to put their hands on their spouse, and there's kids present, there's kids involved. They don't take that into consideration and think that these things will fall on my kids. Either my daughters will become victim of abuse because they've grown up to think that was okay, and then, or my sons will become abusive men because they grew up and think that it's okay for them to do that. If she got smart or didn't do what he wanted her to do, they create these cycles and generational curses. And so I suffered through that abuse for like at least 2 years before I was able to really fight my way out of that. And I had to get myself out of that situation. I had to, fight in the literal sense, for my life. Like, I had to fight for my life. And when I finally was able to get out and I left, sip this coffee. Sorry, y'all, that reminded me of Terrell Grice. Left his channel. Anyways, when I finally got out and I moved away, I took all of our kids, even my stepdaughter, because that was my baby. But I took all my kids with me, and I got out and I moved back down to LA with my dad. And you guys, that was like the hardest time of my life. I was so emotionally messed up and mentally jacked up. Like, I was done. Like, I couldn't lose it all, because I still had to take care of my kids, and I still had the pregnancy to deal with. And I mean, at this time, I had my baby, and he was little, and so I just was like, it was just a lot. And then to find out that I was 10 weeks pregnant by him, when I left, I found out I was 10 weeks pregnant. So needless to say, I had to abort that baby because I just couldn't do it. My youngest was 1 year old, like a little bit over 1, almost 2. I just didn't have it in me emotionally, spiritually, mentally to do another baby. And so I did what I am so against and never really believed in, and I had the abortion, and that was so hard to do, but I was so numb. But the crazy thing is, like, to add the abortion on top of the abuse, like, I didn't sleep for like 7 months after I had the abortion. Like, every time I tried to close my eyes, go to sleep, I heard the vacuum cleaner in my ear of them taking my baby out of me. And so that's, one thing that I do regret. And I don't regret much of my lessons in life. But I do regret my abortion. And I had two, that's another story for another day. I had two abortions, but I do regret having the abortions. Those are probably the only regrets I have in my life. It's not having my babies. They were mine, and I should have had I was responsible for my body, and it should have been my choice and my decisions, and not no one else's. But I also know that having a baby in that type of situation, coming out of abuse and things, I didn't want to, like, what if my baby was born looking exactly like their dad, and I wasn't emotionally healed yet to handle and deal with that, and I already had two other kids by him, and it was just, I just couldn't do it. And so, but I was so depressed. I cried every night when my kids went to sleep. I cried my eyes out. It was so hard to get together on top of that, because of the abuse and the blunt force trauma to the head that I had from him. I lost hearing, like 38% hearing in my right ear, and he also knocked fragments loose of my eardrum in my ear. And then I also had vertigo because of from the hits to the head. So at any point, those fragments that are loose would move around, float around, and hit nerves on the inside of my ear, which causes the vertigo to flare up, and then it could affect my eyesight. It could affect the mobility of my body. Like, I could be paralyzed for a minute. So I was dealing with that part, on top of the abortion, on top of the devil, I rebuke you, because you're trying to take my voice to keep me from getting this out, because what I'm saying is going to help someone. So I rebuke that now, and I come against this attack on my voice. And you guys, please excuse me. I am, because of the things that I've been through in my life, and the fact that I can truly say that God brought me out of those situations, out of that depression, out of all of the things that I'm talking about now, and then some, because I know that God did that. I don't play with the devil. I don't play with the supernatural, the spiritual realm. I'm deep in that, although I may be still cool, and you know what I'm saying, like, I'm pretty dope. I think I'm a pretty dope chick, but even with that, like, I don't play with that. I don't. So excuse me if you ever hear me start to pray in my videos, or what I just did now, rebuke the devil. I'm so big on that, and so you will catch and learn that. And if this is your type of thing, subscribe to my channel. Yes, that was a plug. But anyways, back to the topic. So yeah, to come out of that marriage, from the abuse that I endured, from the scars that I have, physical scars that I can look at, and that made it hard for me to heal and get over, when every day I looked up in the mirror, I had, the dark mark on my face from being bit, the knife mark on my thigh, the bruises. It was so hard. And then having to take, you guys, I had to take like 13 pills every morning when I got up, because of the trauma to my body physically that I took from those beatings. So I was, I'm 23, 24, and I'm taking 13 pills every morning just to function. There were times that I would get rushed to the hospital because like, everything in my body would just drop. My potassium would drop, everything, all my levels would drop. It was one time I went to the hospital, and they looked at me and said, according to your vital signs, you should be dead. Like, you're dead. How are you sitting up here? How are you talking to me? Your vitals are saying you're dead. Like, that's just how low everything was. And so it took a lot for me to fight for my life. Like, I was in the fight I was fighting for my life even after I left him and moved out of the home with him. And excuse, like, the lighting. Let me see if I can fix that. That's better. So as soon as I was able to fix, my mental had to change. God spoke to me and just told me to forgive him. And so I called my ex-husband and I said, I told him that I forgave him, and I don't forgive you. I don't need you to respond to it. I don't need you to say sorry to me or anything like that. I'm doing this for me. And the moment I did that, this pressure was like released off of me so heavy, and I was able to just breathe again. Like it was like I was waiting to exhale. Like I couldn't, and I was finally able to do it. And so that was like the first step to me healing. And that's what I wanted to say to you, that, for you who are suffering or going through it or in it now, forgive that person for yourself. And that is like the biggest thing you could do for yourself, is to forgive someone for what they've done to you. When you could do that, God can do anything for you. Trust him and believe him. And I'm coming back with part 2 to this video.